Good evening, and welcome to another World of Warships video with Captain Darkwing Glacier. In this game, I am taking out the Tier 8 premium German battleship, the Tirpitz, for my first game ever in this ship. I recently found out that I had a lot of doubloons that I was just kind of sitting on, and the Tirpitz was calling to me, so I decided I would give it a try. I was reluctant at first to buy this ship for a while because it seems very much like another Bismarck. Yes, it does have torpedoes, but otherwise it's pretty much the same ship. They do have slight differences in their secondary batteries, but more or less they are the same. The Tirpitz has worse anti-aircraft batteries than the Bismarck does, but it does have the addition of torpedoes to make up for that. But I already have the Bismarck, so what do I need the Tirpitz for? Well, everyone who has it seems to enjoy it very much, so I had those doubloons and I decided I would just take the plunge and take out my Tirpitz. I was lucky that in my first game in this ship that I was not up-tiered into a Tier 10 match. I am in a Tier 8 match. Unfortunately, it does have an aircraft carrier, so that's something I'm going to have to worry about from the beginning. So as I'm looking at my team, I see that we do have a Dallas, but he's on the other side of the map from me. So I decide I'm going to head over to the east and see if I can get some anti-air cover from the friendly New Mexico, the Leon, and the Aoba, who's a little bit too far ahead of me to really benefit me in that regard. Fortunately, the carrier, our carrier that is sending his planes in our direction, which hopefully means he'll be sending some fighter cover as well. So I find that I'm already detected. I am using a 19-point captain on this ship. This is my Bismarck captain as well, so it's a full secondary build. I love secondary builds, so I had to put the captain on for this one. And I'm hoping to get some bad guys within my 11.3 kilometer range. So I take a shot at the Huanghe, which is just coming out from behind the island, and it looks like I don't get any hits at all as he hides in his smoke. But here come the enemy bomber aircraft, so already I feel like I'm being targeted by the enemy carrier, which is not a good thing. So I'm close to the New Mexico so we can pool our anti-air, which is good, but probably not going to be enough, although it looks kind of impressive. I do manage to shoot down an aircraft, and it looks like the bombers went after the New Mexico, not me, and he came through it not very much worse for wear, so that's good news on my part, or for me. But here come the torpedo bombers, which I'm definitely worried about, but it looks like we might have some enemy fighters in the area that could be scaring them off. So I end up colliding a little bit with the New Mexico. He continues to turn away, whereas I want to start turning towards the enemy and start affecting them. Looks like I convinced the New Mexico to do the same. So at this point we are down both the A and the D caps, so things are not off to a good start for us, although neither side has yet to lose a ship. So I take some AP shots at the enemy Scharnhorst, who is remaining stationary. And with the assistance of the carrier planes, we are starting to maneuver around the eastern side of the D cap and going to attempt to take it back from the enemy. Now the Scharnhorst has started to move once he's realized he's come under fire, so I take another shot at him. I get set on fire myself, but I'm not too concerned about that right now. So I do damage a turret, do about 5,000 damage to the Scharnhorst, which isn't bad. But I need to do a lot more damage in this to have a good effect on it. So now I'm approaching secondary range. It's kind of interesting how so many times in secondary builds, due to the onslaught of fire I'm receiving, the enemy always seems to be in an arc surrounding me just outside secondary battery range. So I take a shot at Minsk there. I believe I set my secondaries first on him, and then I believe I'm going to switch it to the Scharnhorst now that the Minsk is behind cover. Oh, but here comes a Benson. Yeah, I immediately designated him, target some shots at him, and this Benson is running into a world of hurt. There are multiple ships here. We have our Aoba, we have me, the Leon, and the Shiratsuyu, so this Benson is in deep trouble. He is not long for this world. So I get a decent hit. My secondaries are doing lots of damage to him. And he's about to get overwhelmed. The Aoba launches some 4 torpedoes right between the Shiratsuyu and the Leon, which is very risky. I definitely would have held my fire if I was in his position. Unfortunately, we do lose our Shiratsuyu, but we do trade it for the Benson. My secondaries are now shooting at the Scharnhorst, who had run aground and is now backing up. The Minsk is on my port side, and I am concerned about him, but I'm not very concerned about his torpedoes because I believe that they're relatively short-ranged. But he is fast, so I am going to have to keep an eye on him. Take some more shots at the Scharnhorst. The Hwanghae has now finally come out of cover, and he is just sitting there ripe for the picking, so I redesignate my secondaries upon him, line up my main batteries, fire my rear 2 turrets, but he gets taken out by the Leon before my shells get there, which happens all the time. Now I redesignate the Scharnhorst. That's one of the key things to do when you're in a secondary build, is you constantly have to target and retarget and be on top of that, otherwise your secondaries just won't be firing. So I redesignate the Minsk because he's close and I want to give him something to think about. And then I also realize he is within torpedo range, so I line up my torpedoes for a shot and send some torpedoes right around the edge of that island. Maybe I can catch him by surprise. So now I switch my attention back to the Scharnhorst ahead. My secondaries are back on him as well. We still haven't taken either A or B yet. And the Minsk has launched some torpedoes at me, which I have to keep an eye on. But I should be able to avoid those since I'm already heading in the general direction. I do have enemy torpedo bombers on the way, so I'm going to have to watch out for them. And it looks like the Minsk just blindly ran right into my torpedoes and took him out. So already I'm kind of pleased with my Tirpitz that it has that little sneaky weapon there, and totally fooled that Minsk and caught him unawares. But it looks like I'm going to take 2 torpedoes myself from the bombers. I am able to avoid the first batch of bombers, but not the second. So I take a little bit of damage. I do have my damage control ready, so I'm not flooding. And now there's a Dunkirk, and he is just in bow tank mode and just sitting there. He's not even moving whatsoever, so I can just close the distance and maybe I can launch some torpedoes at him as well. So now I'm finding myself potentially overextended here. I have outrun the Leon. The New Mexico is fleeing to the north again. The Aoba somehow has backed up over there. I do have a friendly Haida, which has just taken the sea cap, but now he is taking evasive action up in between the islands. So I am really the only one south of the central islands here. So that may be asking for some trouble. I'll take this moment to apologize for my voice. I'm still recovering from a cold, so occasionally it goes out on me. So hopefully you can understand the commentary. Anyway, I take some more shots at the Dunkirk. My secondaries are doing their damage. I have some incoming bombers. The friendly fighters are tangled up with the enemy fighters and not doing so well, so they're in trouble. I get some damage from the first set of bombers, but this Dunkirk is in much worse shape than I am, so maybe these shots will take him out. And yes, they do. That's kill number 2. So there are enemy fighters over here, and surprisingly, I have taken out 7 enemy fighters, which just kind of gives you an indication that because this ship has not very good AA, it frequently has enemy planes flying over it. So even when they hover over you for that long, even a poor AA suite is going to get you some kills. Now the Cyclone is active, and I can no longer see to a great distance. Although it's interesting, I can still see the horizon despite the fact that we're in a cyclone. But anyway, this Duke of York is approaching from the northwest, and he is going to be my next primary target, because I'm not sure where the carrier is, and I feel like if I attempt to go after him, it's going to be a wild goose chase, and that Duke of York will still be behind me. So the Duke of York will be my next target. And finally, the Leon and the Aoba are coming to assist. So even, yeah, I do have a little bit more health than the Duke of York is, who's showing me plenty of broadside. So hopefully I will be able to take him out. I consider turning to port to unmask my aft batteries, but then I changed my mind, realizing I need to close the distance as much as possible so I can have my secondaries go to work and potentially get some torpedoes off. Get a good hit there, which reduces the Duke of York to about 15k. And while I'm not paying attention, the enemy drops some more torpedoes on me, and I'm definitely going to take one hit, probably two, and then I realize that I am about to die, and I am desperate to get these torpedoes off. I get them off at the last second, and I take some hits from the rear turrets of the Duke of York, and I go down. But my torpedoes are away, and they're slowly tracking ahead. Will they have the range? They only have a 6-kilometer range, but I believe that the Duke of York is about at 5 kilometers right now, and see if they can get him. And they do. And that ends up being kill number 3. Unfortunately, I do die, but I did manage 120k damage. Our team is in the lead. We have 3 out of the 4 caps, and a lead of 5 ships to 3. So it turns out that we actually do come away with a victory in this game. The remainder of the game is kind of just ships chasing each other. See, there we just took down their Aoba, so they just have a Fuso left and the carrier, and that ends up taking a long time. So we'll just jump ahead to the victory screen. I do have to say that I do like the Tirpitz. It is a lot of fun. It is a Bismarck with a nasty surprise in the form of those torpedoes. So I believe I'll be taking the ship out again. And if you don't have a Tirpitz and you're thinking about getting one, I do recommend it. It is a lot of fun. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.